The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and/or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
Hooray for Hollywood, where stars are living large, in mansions with their servants and their credit cards in charge, with fame that's fleeting, but the egos never change, where everyone's a genius, except the ones who really arrange. Hooray for Hollywood, where the scandals always sell, where every whispered secret is a new tabloid's tell. Oh, how we adore the endless red carpet galore. Hooray for Hollywood, where less is always more.
So I got two parlays tonight. Derrick Henry and Gibbs anytime touchdown already both hit. Jameson Williams 25 yards receiving. Zay Flowers 25 yards receiving. Derrick Henry over 50 yards rushing receiving. Jamar Gibbs 50 yards rushing receiving. Jamar Gibbs over 25 yards rushing. Lamar Jackson 25 yards rushing. And Montgomery over 25 yards rushing. We won't talk about the other one. It's a low level one.
I had a quiet churchy. I had a $10 bonus bet that I threw on this. It's not for much money. It's more of like seed money for a bigger bet. I got Lamar Jackson to record 6+ rush attempts, or he's already rushed once. I've got Lamar Jackson over 29.5 pass attempts, because yesterday when I bet on the worst quarterbacks in the NFL getting under, 3 of them went over. I just threw my phone into fucking traffic. And then finally, I've got Jared Goff over 35, over 34.5.
Who is Jared? You mean Jared Goff?
That's what I said.
I don't know No, you said Jared.
I said baby giraffe.
You kind of went towards Gerard territory there, Mark. I'm with
yeah,
Jason on that one.
Yeah. So you had Goff going for how many?
Over 34.5 pass attempts.
No, he's through 10 right now for 116 yards.
Yeah, I've on my app, I've got him at 11.
Gibbs has already got his yardage, and Henry is 14 yards short. So
the subject of today's podcast, everyone, is why legalized sports betting is a bad thing and has been helping lead our nation and our entire world, for that matter, down a moral sewer.
Welcome to the Christian Debate Channel. Ladies and
I don't have to make a religious argument for that.
I know, but it was funnier that way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you, my pretties, are listening to a Rad Religion Broadcasting premier podcast, Damn You Hollywood. And at the altar of sacrifice is our fearless leader, Robert Winfrey. Amen.
It's gonna be one of those shows, everybody. Just a heads up.
And down there where he belongs, is him. It's Jason Teasley, everybody.
I and him.
He's the GOAT. What are we talking about tonight, Robert?
I came this close to just saying something that we would all regret.
I regret nothing.
I was going to say, you're always this close to saying something you're going to regret. You like
No. We. Collective. I will make everyone regret.
Again, I still correct.
We're talking about him.
Him. That's me.
I hate what black culture has done to the English language. Loathe it. The only thing it's done for the last 15 years is destroyed the nuclear family, increase crime, and destroy the English language. It is not worth celebrating or acknowledging.
You really could have just stopped with black culture has destroyed and like ... and it would have been perfect.
And then we can just you're TikTok and then cut to you talking about magazine dreams.
All right.
Can I get on with this? Him is a 2025 American horror film.
Alleged.
Directed by Justin Tipping. Co-written by Skip Bronkie, Zack Akers, and Tipping, and produced by Jordan Peele's Monkeypaw Productions. And if you don't know who Justin Tipping is, well, he's made 2 movies. This is one of them. The other one he wrote and directed was Kicks in 2016. He's done a little bit more television.
Let me guess. This Is Us. Or
Close.
Blackish.
He just closed. Oh, this is going to be a terrible podcast.
It would have been better if he did This Is Us, because I Am Him and This Is Us. It would have worked out perfect.
He directed 2 episodes of The Chai, 2 episodes of Black Monday, and 1 episode of Dear White People. I'm sensing a theme. 1 episode of Dare Me.
Almost like Jordan Peele's The Second Coming of M. Night Shyamalan. He's got 1 trick, and it's not that good.
4 episodes that he directed and produced of 20s. 3 episodes of Flatbush Misdemeanors. 3 episodes that he directed of Run the World. And 4 episodes that he directed of Joe versus Carol.
Most of these are featured on either BET or OWN, for those of you who still have cable.
Yep. So, every bit of that explains this movie. The film stars Marlon Wayans of Respect fame, Tyriq Withers.
I hate Marlon Wayans so much.
Jesus, mother of God. Julia Fox and Tim Heidecker. Its plot follows the trials of a young up-and-comer football player.
Trials.
Training at the isolated compound of an aging, nearly retired quarterback. Him was released in Mexico on September 18, 2025, and was released in the U.S. by Universal Pictures.
Sorry, something about the way you just said it was released in Mexico, like you were reading off. This is where the disease started. First showed up in Guadalajara.
It was like Outback. Outbreak.
28 pesos later. It was released in the United States by Universal Pictures on September 19th. The film received generally negative reviews from Robert Winfrey and other critics as well. It has grossed $13.9 million worldwide. More on that in about an hour. Jason, I know you're a big-time football fan. I'm a fair-weather football fan. Was that the only reason you wanted to see this? Have you seen the other Jordan Peele either directed or produced horror films?
Yeah. I've seen Nope. I've seen Us. I've seen. I think the only one I haven't seen. There's only one I haven't seen, I think. But yeah, I liked Get Out. Get Out was what he burst onto the scene for, and it was a really good concept for it. But since then, he's kind of faltered a little bit, like Robert said. Kind of M. Night, one great movie, and then kind of sputters throughout. Gets his name out there in the genre. But
in fact, he's so one note these days. He's openly admitted, I don't have anything I'm working on because I can't make white people the villain anymore.
Yeah.
So this came from Jordan Peele's Monkeypaw. And here's the list of films that were made by Monkeypaw. And I think it's interesting. There's a pattern developing here. So we have Keanu in 2016, Get Out in 2017, Black Klansman in 2018, Us 2019, the Candyman remake that Robert and I reviewed in 2021, Nope, Honk for Jesus Save Your Soul, Wendell and Wild, Monkey Man from last year, and finally Him. And I can't quite put my finger on it, Robert. Let me throw you a softball, my love. I can't quite put my finger on it, Robert, but I think there's a pattern in the films that he's producing that Monkeypaw Productions is putting out. Whatever could it be?
Yeah, and he fired his. Me and Robert talked about this previously. He fired his representative, his agents and stuff, over missing out on. Was it the monkey that he missed out on, and he fired his agents over? Yeah, so
it wasn't something like that. He was potentially lined up to distribute it or produce it.
Which movie was this? Oh, the Monkey.
The Monkey
Stephen King movie. Okay.
Yeah, The Monkey. Yeah. And he passed on it for whatever reason. And when it turned out to be a moderate success, he got unhappy that he was not able to steal his part of the pie on something that he would have helped marginally on. Can you sense the hypocrisy building in what I'm about to say about this movie?
But to go back, Mark, I liked his take on Twilight Zone. A few of the episodes he done, and I liked some of his previous works. And then the fact that this was a sports movie, and I knew that me and you wouldn't ever review it, put it on anything in February for the Super Bowl that we do the triple feature we usually do around the Super Bowl. Yeah, I figured why not jump on here with you guys and review a sports movie / horror, which is really a psychological thriller. If you ask me, it's not a horror movie, but we'll get into that a little bit more.
Because I know Robert is not a fan of black culture, likes black people just fine. Who doesn't? But he's not a huge fan of black culture, if we're being fair and not picking at Robert, because he's entitled to not like a culture. He really is.
I don't care much for the Swedes either as a culture.
I'm glad you said that. We'll get to them later.
I'm just the gift that keeps on giving. My contributions here tonight.
Okay. So anyway, I wasn't going to put this on the schedule because I know I'm usually the guy that likes to run around and pinch Robert's nipples and run away, but occasionally I like to just not bully him and leave him alone and do something else. So I wasn't going to do this movie when you said I would like to talk about it. And I was like, all right, well, Jason wants to talk about it. It's the new big feature of the week. It's a Jordan Peele movie. There's a lot going into this. And I didn't know this at the time. And I will definitely talk about this when we get to the craft review in a minute. How much this was going to remind me of Candyman, the Nia DaCosta remake. I was like, okay, it definitely has a place on the schedule. It's probably one I would have, if you didn't want to do this, Jason, it would have been one I would have saved for a triple feature once it went to streaming. And I might have thrown it on with some other Monkeypaw stuff, since we've already done a Jordan Peele director focus. But that's the last thing I'll say before Robert goes into the plot synopsis is I'm not unhappy we're giving it the full damn you Hollywood treatment. I think it deserves it for the good, bad, and ugly reasons. Like, it's not a perfect film. Just because I loved it, I can see why it's not doing well critically. I can see why it's not even doing well with the audience. This is a weird fucking movie, but I'll say this now, and then Robert can go into the plot synopsis. My son and I high-fived when it was over. We were we were gushing as soon as this movie ended about how good we thought this was.
Theater gushing.
Yeah,
I mean, the same ending you did.
I told you as soon as I came out, I posted.
You're at like a 9 right now. Can you get to a 5 for me? Like, I get you're going through it, but
all right, I'll dial back.
Thank you.
When I got out of the theater, I messaged the group chat and totally said this is a total mindfuck, and it is, and I loved it because not that it was a perfect movie. Don't get me wrong.
Don't go into
I'm just saying it has its issues.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was able, and it makes me feel good that I had enough pull to actually get the debut Hollywood treatment on, just because I said I wanted to review it. That makes me get all the warm and fuzzies inside to join you two for reviewing it. So
to finish my point, like it's one of these. It's so weird to me, this movie, and it's so over the top silly in places that it's right in my wheelhouse, because my son is just the worst combination of me and Robert. He was like, this is the best movie I've seen all year. And then I look over at my daughter and she's like, Hansel. With that said, that bit of a reference. Go ahead, Robert. Tell us about Hansel.
Well, Gretel and Hansel is a reimagining of the Hansel and Gretel narrative. It was released from the same studio that... Okay, sorry. That's not what you want me to go into. So we open with some kids. The kid is going to become our main character, watching the legally distinct Super Bowl from the legally distinct from the NFL. where the quarterback wins the game, but horribly shatters his leg. Like bone sticking out through the skin, not getting immediate medical attention, just letting the camera shot linger on it, while his dad goes, "Isn't this such a great game? I'm going to, Varsity Blues you now." We fast forward to that kid, who is Cameron something or other, and he's about to go perform in the NFL Combine. He'd like to get drafted. In the interim, that player who suffered an injury that, would probably cripple you for life, went on to win 8 more not Super Bowls. And he is the GOAT. And our protagonist goes back to his old high school to relive something, and some dude in a goat mask comes up behind him, brains him with a wrench. And the resulting skull fracture and concussion keep him out of the Combine. But it's not a good thing, because now he might not get drafted. And, he doesn't actually have a skill. So his agent, who is also the agent for Marlon Wayans, who shows up in a little mail carrier's outfit at least twice in this movie to yell message loudly at the screen, says, "Look, I got a thing. Go work out with him for a week, and they'll probably still sign you over there at the Saviors, because subtlety."
That's okay. The game they were showing, I didn't want to interrupt you, but it was the Saviors versus the Masons, and that began one of many spit takes I took watching this movie.
This movie would have been better received if it was actually the Wayans brothers comedy it desperately wants to be. I'm just going to leave that out there. Anyway. So he drives out to this compound in the middle of the desert, because the team is in San Antonio. And San Antonio is in the middle of the desert, because that's all that Texas is, right? And he goes and he meets Marlon Wayans at this weird spider head facility. Those are the vibes this thing gave me. That or Ex Machina. Not Ex Machina. No, it is Ex Machina. Deus Ex is the other one. Anyway. And we now get our setup for the rest of this thing. It is 6 chapters set up with pretentious title cards, because, of course. As our protagonist goes through the different things necessary to forge one into a reliable quarterback, things get a little bit weird. There's some spooky stuff happening. Is it real? Is it not? I don't know. The guy's a little bit he's a little bit messed up. Again, he suffered head trauma. And he gets abused and pushed, and Marlon Wayans gets to yell and scream like he normally does. And then after a few days of this, Marlon's wife is like, "Hey, why don't you come to this party with the owners, and we'll make you the same. We're probably going to wind up making you the same offer, but you got to meet somebody before you sign them." And he goes, "Sure, that's a good idea." So they go to this secret underground party for the elite class, because because it's unadvertised and being held in a terrible location that is actually kitted out for all their secret evil rituals. Actually, a line said in this movie, where he gets drunk and he is propositioned by women. And he meets all the ownership, and the chief doctor is there and then winds up decapitated. Maybe. Probably. He goes back to the compound, and finally he is then injected with the blood of Marlon Wayans, who we saw remove some of it earlier, because blood doping, it's a thing. And then he goes to confront Marlon Wayans, because now he's ready to become the GOAT. There can be only one, like the Highlander. So they transport to planet Xanadu, and they engage in their duel of fisticuffs and football helmets. And despite suffering a broken arm, our protagonist wins, and he walks down through the tunnel into the big lit anthem, the stadium, the cathedral that is a small football field replica in the middle of the Texas desert, where a bunch of people in weird masks offer him a satanic deal to join the team and become the greatest of all time. And he goes, no, none of this sounds like a good idea to me. And he kills them all. And then he walks off into the sunset with a mangled arm, covered in blood, and probably to his death, one would assume. And that's it. That's this movie.
Tell us, Jason. Tell us now how much you love this movie and what's so wonderful about it.
Oh, I love this movie because it was batshit crazy. The symbolism, I mean, it's Christian symbolism all the way through it. I mean, you even get a shot of him eating dinner as if he's Jesus and the 12 disciples with him.
Yeah, that could not have been a less subtle remaking of The Last Supper.
Yeah, and you know,
I was reliably informed that's based on a picture of the Bacchanal, Mark.
Yeah,
I can call back to that stupid controversy.
But this movie, it is two of my favorite things: sports movie plus extreme horror.
You jerk. Leave the liberals alone. They're having such a hard time right now. First, they Jimmy Kimmel was kicked off of ABC. Now
he's back tomorrow. Shut up.
Go on.
No one, dude. That whole thing is I'm convinced that whole thing false flag. They knew his ratings were just ass, so they fired him to drum up a little bit of controversy. So when he comes back, they can go highest ratings in like 18 years. He was seen by almost 200,000 people.
Keep going, Jason.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it combined two of my favorite things, sports movies and basically what was supposed to be a horror ended up being more of a psychological drama than a psychological thriller than a horror movie. But it was just so over the top that I couldn't help but like it. I mean, the last 10 minutes is probably some of the most batshit crazy stuff ever, with somebody getting their head chopped off on a goalpost to getting a sword through 30 yards through their back and it actually penetrating them halfway through their body.
A dumb blonde falling on a knife, which I thought was the best part, which is the funniest part.
Yeah, wannabe Lady Gaga, trying to say if you want something done, you'll do it yourself, and like she gets taken out pretty easily. And then you got the ambiguous, sacrifice of the agent, where he's ripped apart off screen. But the best part about that is when he's walking away and he just kind of, flinches at that drummer guy and he just kind of looks at him and just steps to the side. I thought that was funny. But this is something that is insane. The pass catching machine to the face was very hard to watch because it was. I know how taking one of those at like 25, 30 yards, taking it to the face 3 yards is kind of brutal, especially when they amp it up and they keep amping it up. I think that they should have. What would have been great is instead of Marlon Wayans, they would have got Jamie Foxx to play this and just been a continuation of Any Given Sunday, and it would have been Willie Beeman.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and then instead of having the blonde chick, it would have been Cameron Diaz. I think that would have been great. It would have just been like Any Given Sunday Part 2, like Monday Night Football, Any Given Monday Night Football. But I just liked it because it was batshit crazy. The pacing was off a little bit. I mean, it was very very herky jerky. Nothing really got built before you moved on to the next. Jamie Foxx, Marlon Wayans was the highlight of this movie. I mean, by far. Him just playing unhinged is great. The kid, the main character, that kid, he did a fine job because, I mean, he kind of had to carry a lot of stuff. But when he was on screen with Marlon Wayans were just chewing chewing scenery up, and you couldn't help gravitate toward him.
Like I was saying before, it was an interesting movie watching experience because the four of us went. It was myself, Erica, and my kids. And Erica was not having the world's best mental health day. And so it's kind of a tale of two viewing experiences because I was tired and I kind of went just because I really didn't do any reading up on this movie. I didn't realize that Jim Jeffries, who's like one of my favorite comedians now, was in this. So it was quite a tickle to see him there. But the movie did not grab either myself or Erica that quickly. She ended up fucking leaving. Like, it was such a weirdly jarring visual experience to start with that it lost her immediately and she just went home. That's the last I would tell you about my girlfriend that day. I am a responsible adult without ADHD, so I made it through. But it didn't start to win me over until about midway through the movie. I'll be honest with you. Like, you have to understand the second half of the movie, as weird as it is what won me over. Because if I did like a Red Letter Media thing where I only watched the first half of it, I would have been in Robert's camp and like, this movie sucks. I don't get it. What I liked about it, and it definitely gave me Nia DaCosta's Candyman vibes, especially the revenge fantasy ending, was how much the movie leaned on magical, ethereal, day trippy, acid test, unreliable narrator tropes. At which point I'm like, oh, this isn't a real movie. This is them. This is the director and Jordan Peele and the writers all deciding that they want to tell a parable about the cult of football fandom and greatness, and it does not do strict narrative tropes, narrative structure. It never reliably informs you if you're in the real world or not, and it's so heavy-handedly resting on religious iconography that it's this close to satire. And I don't know of another example off the top of my head that perfectly blended psychological drama, horror, and satire in one movie.
Much as I'm loath to reference this guy, probably Red State would be the closest we've gotten.
I don't know if I ever saw Red State.
It was supposed to end with the literal rapture, but, Kevin Smith has no self-restraint when it comes to budgetary use, so he literally couldn't do the ending he wanted.
Yeah. My point is, I think I'm artificially elevating my enjoyment or the movie itself's craft because it's so weird and different than anything I've used to seeing. There are some, and I said this on my TikTok, there are some traditional movie craft elements I do think are good. Your mileage may vary. I'm willing to accept another opinion. Here's my opinion. Opinion. Subjective. Opinion. I think Marlon Wayans did a really good job in this. I'm not allergic to Marlon Wayans the way some others are, but I tend to not enjoy his comedies. I put him in the same category as Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell, and Adam Sandler. Where I hate their comedies, I love their dramas. I think Marlon Wayans was great in Respect. I think he continues to be great in this. Everything that makes him kind of awful in comedies for me, I know other people have the opposite opinion of him, is what makes his dramas so good. Because he's not a traditionally dramatic actor. He's doing the same thing he would do in a comedy, but there are no jokes as such. He's just being him, which I kind of like. It's very natural. He gives a very natural performance. The kid playing Tyriq Withers is a cardboard cutout. He is asked to do a thing, he reliably does it, and that's all there is of him. He is as flat and as empty as a vessel you need to project yourself into. So if you're the kind of person who's kind of struggling with wanting to be a famous athlete and being crushed by the weight of it all and how much it takes to actually get to that level, and you're mad now, and this movie is letting you live through this character, that fantasy of killing everybody and everything in your way of becoming a great athlete, boy, is this movie for you, and boy, is that character perfect. He is a blank fucking slate, which I know supports the religious narrative in the movie, but also allows you, the audience member, to project yourself into him because he is nothing else. And it's fine. That's how he was written. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, he was written as somebody that you had really no expectations.
Yeah.
To any preconceived expectations, just that, because if you notice in they spliced this in, and I didn't notice this. I watched it twice. I watched the beginning of it twice. They spliced in another quarterback, a couple of frames while they're talking about who's the best coming out. There's another quarterback spliced in there, and I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it's something I noticed. So you kind of are seeing, his dad is hyping him up, and then we have to have this in a lot of things. I've coached youth sports before. Parents try to live through their kids, and you have parents overinflating kids' egos, and that's what I thought this was going to be. He was going to overinflate the ego. He was going to be mediocre. Then he was going to go to this combine, and then he was going to transcend. I think that would have helped more. And the whole combine thing of him being attacked, so his draft stock falls, I thought was really good because that happens in the NFL. You have smear campaigns against players.
Okay, are you saying that was a metaphor for what actually happens? Because it sounds like you're saying people get attacked before the fucking NFL draft.
Well,
not physically, but their character is attacked. I mean, a prime example is Randy Moss, who is one of the greatest receivers of all time.
Let me jump in here, because everyone got your point that was a metaphor for what happens to guys before the draft. It sucks, and I'm going to let you go back to it. I promise this isn't a Ronnie thing where you've told that story. I don't want you to tell it again. I'm going to let you speak. But I got to address that scene because it was the first example in the movie to me of I don't know what world this is supposed to be. I don't know if it's the real world or if it's a magic world, because the ball is spinning independently. The football is spinning independently. The goalposts are ringing like a tuning fork, and a monster jumped out and hit him with a wrench. And I'm like, what the hell did I just see? My kids and I are looking at each other like, what the fuck? And
it builds up to that.
You should have been right at home, Mark. That was an average WCW Nitro episode.
Yes,
just make it Scott Steiner instead of the guy with the mask. And
I actually did yell out, "He's fat." My point is that it was one of the first times in the movie where, like, clearly he was injured because it's a big part of the next sequence of events is him getting his head stapled, and whether or not and now it's questionable if he'll even make the draft. But like the road to get there, I was like, I don't understand what I just watched.
Yeah.
And the movie does that repeatedly, where you think you're in the real world, you very quickly are made unsure, and the movie never commits to one idea. And normally that's me complaining about it, but that's what I think makes this movie interesting, is that because it's not really interested in showing an accurate portrayal of football, no one's calling the teams the fucking saviors or the Masons, you assholes. It instead really just wants to attack certain ideas, and therefore it doesn't have to be realistic. It's a parable. It's mythology. It's a folk tale. Now go, Jason.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you get player characters attacked, so their draft stock falls. The most prominent one and the most recent is Shedeur Sanders. Horrible football player, but he was hyped up because he was Deion's kid, and nobody could understand why he slipped to the fifth round because he had a lot of negative stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
his interviews. A lot of GMs came out and said his interviews were absolute dog shit. He had a poor attitude. He doesn't have the work ethic, and so he went from a top
worst player kid, LeBron's kid, or that guy.
Shedeur Sanders.
Okay, keep going.
By far. But he was originally he was projected as a second round pick, early second pick. He slid all the way to about the mid fifth. Huge pay cut, huge blow to the ego. I mean, if they even had a draft room set up in his home with all this diamond plated stuff for him to get drafted in the fifth round. So, I mean, you get things out there. And I'll reference another movie me and you talked about, Mark, Draft Day. Bo Callahan, why didn't nobody go to his birthday party? In Draft Day, he's a projected number one overall pick. He starts sliding, people start asking questions. And you get that negative thing. This is the same thing. But I think a lot of the symbolism, like the woolly booger that hops up and hits him in the head. I really don't think that was what weird to see, but I think it was an actual person. But I think you had more of a symbolic thing of some monsters dressed up and hits him.
They do this again in the scene where he's in the sauna, and the gross looking gal attacks him. I'm wondering
how she got in there.
What portal did she walk through? And again, the movie doesn't care. The movie is uninterested in physics. Clearly, it is interested in very overt, like, this movie knows that there's a rising tide of neurodivergence out there and made this movie for them for some odd reason. It was like, we will leave everything and nothing to the imagination. We are not subtle at all.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, the unreliable narrative that we're giving is, like you said, I think it adds to the film rather than versus detracting from it, because especially I think if they would have leaned into it after his concussion and brain damage, I think that would have played more pointed to, like, is he having it, and have it being questioned, is the brain injury, the TBI is causing this, is causing him to freak out and see these things and have these reactions. Because as soon as he gets there, they start dosing him with the blood. Like, they start dosing him immediately and start giving him the blood. And you see the effects, the immediate effects. It starts repairing injuries immediately. And it's like one of those things that you're like, okay, are they shooting him up with steroids? What is this? What is some kind of illegal cocktail from Mexico that they smuggled across the border with some coyotes? Or Tammy Stitch, whichever one you want to believe.
If you're as rich as this guy is, you don't have to smuggle anything. You hire a chemist to make custom stuff for you. You don't have to get that crazy. You don't have to get that elaborate with it.
Well, you got to have it untraceable.
Designer drugs can't be traced. Like, they don't even know to test for them.
So another thing that I wanted to
get me on my anti-doping spiel.
I really don't. Another thing I did want to talk about, though, is it's really funny because I was very hyper focused on the dangers of cult behavior and football as cult. That editorializing, that meditation, and all my kids wanted to talk about when the movie was over. Like, we went to lunch after, and all my kids wanted to talk about was the religious iconography. They were like peppering me with questions. Dad, what about this? What did you see? This? Is he supposed? Was he the Holy Ghost? What like that's the questions that they're peppering me with, and I'm just like, can we talk about how this movie really hates our relationship with football and how uniquely American that is? Like, that's the stuff that was interesting to me. I'm gonna stop
to disagree with you there, but
go ahead. I want to stop both me and Jason and bring you into the conversation, and I'm not going to do it as snarky as I had intended. So, Robert, I know you did not like this movie for any number of reasons, but I'm not here to speak for you. You can speak for yourself.
First of all, the unhealthy relationship with sport is far from an American phenomenon.
I said the unhealthy relationship with football.
And all the Europeans got pissed at you because they have football. We have American football. Anyway.
If I could throw hot coffee on you, I would.
Look, I say that to say this movie is actually potentially at its most interesting when it talks about how the obsession with sport and spectacle has kind of supplanted everything that is supposed to be good and right in the world.
Saying that though, wasn't I?
Well, by limiting the discussion to American football, you exclude 90% of the population. And I think this is a global problem, not a country problem.
Okay, I didn't go far enough. Fair enough. Go.
So, yeah, I did not enjoy this movie, clearly. Trying to think about where my primary issues lie. I don't mind a slow burn movie, but I need to know that you're going to get somewhere eventually. And this movie spends 90% of its runtime not going anywhere.
It's building up to him taking revenge on the white power structure, which is more narratively coherent than what happened at the end of Candyman, which I will say again, 4 years ago, you and I agreed it was so wildly incongruent with the rest of the film. It's almost a second movie, and it was terrible. This is what they were trying to do with Candyman done right. They started with an idea, built all the way to the revenge fantasy, and it was all the way coherent.
Well, let me just counter that with everything that Candyman does to build up until it goes off the rails at the end is better than everything this movie does up until it goes off the rails at the end.
Also fair.
You have a deeply uninteresting protagonist, and I understand that, you're trying to make someone that you can project into. The problem is that when you make your character you project onto someone that also has a bunch of specifics about him, like, boy, he sure was great in college. Boy, he sure did have he's always been kind of destined to be a good football player. If you want to get the emotional attachment of everyone who's scrubbed out at the high school level into this, you've already lost them. They were never going to be that. They're never going to project into the rest of this. So, not being able to root for him. Marlon Wayans giving Denzel Washington in Training Day a run for his money, just trying to slap his genitals all over the scene at any given point in time.
You're welcome for that imagery, by the way.
Welcome's a strong word. I couldn't get into him as the character he's supposed to be portraying. And that's kind of another big problem I have with this. There's ways I can buy the purpose he's trying to serve, as far as I'm the one who you're taking over for. I am the person you're going to surpass. You're the next iteration of what I am, in a kind of very broad sense, but I don't buy him as a good quarterback. I don't buy him as this thing the movie is screaming at me that he is. It's like putting a picture up of friggin' Hornswoggle and saying this is Shaquille O'Neal. I don't buy it.
Okay.
In today's thing, everybody can be anything they want, Robert.
No, never mind that. I'm a little confused because you're not really explaining it to my satisfaction.
All
Why
right.
Marlon Wayans specifically can't be a good quarterback? What is it? A musculature thing? Is it a performance thing? What do you see? Because I've been there before. I've watched a movie where someone's playing a type of character and I go, I don't buy you as that. I'll give you an example. I don't buy Tom Cruise as Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons, not the least of which is his height. That's what I'm looking for from you. Can you be specific?
His height, first of all, Marlon Wayans' height is a problem. There is a range of height for quarterbacks, but he's on the short. He would be a little bit too short. You gotta understand, you're throwing that ball over guys that are 6'4" on the line minimum. Like, you have to be able to see over that. You have to be able to make reads over that. And
Well,
Marlon, what?
Not necessarily. I mean, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Drew Brees, was only like 5'10".
And Marlon Wayans is about the size of Tom Cruise. Like, I could deal with you being sub-6. I'm not sure I buy you as an Oompa Loompa. And Marlon Wayans kind of borders on that.
Hold on, we got to see how tall Marlon Wayans is.
I don't know.
Watch him be 7 feet tall, and I will laugh my ass off.
He's not 7 feet.
Fucking great collie over there.
Yeah, I mean,
did you have the same problem?
He's 6 foot. He's six. He's listed at either 6 foot or 6'2". So we'll split the difference.
Shawn Michaels' height. So did you have the same problem at Adam Sandler?
In what?
The longest yard.
The longest yard is fantasy.
Okay.
This. I have a laundry list of problems with the longest yard. Okay.
No, but you're talking specifically about a guy playing a quarterback in what's supposed to be the NFL. There's a parallel there between Adam Sandler and Marlon Wayans. I don't know how.
Allow me to then respond with the longest yard is deliberate comedy. Consequently, I shrug at a lot of the absurdity.
Okay.
But okay, if you were to put Adam Sandler in the same kind of position in a more serious movie, yes, I would have the same problem.
That's closer to an answer. Good.
I had a similar problem with Keanu Reeves playing a quarterback. I make an exception for the replacements because there's a lot of other things that I really enjoy about the movie. But Keanu Reeves as quarterback, iffy.
Shane Falco is a godsend.
Again, that's a casting choice, not a character choice. So, yeah, I think the other problem I have with the performance from Wayans in particular is, and I don't know if this is him, the director, the writer, or the fact that none of them knew what they were doing with this. He vacillates way too much between I am trying to hold on with all my might to everything that I have because I've given up literally everything for it. And, oh, you're the guy taking my spot. Let me do the noble thing and put you over on the way out. Because, you go out on your back.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
So it's uneven in a way that makes it impossible for me to buy into the character as anything other than, again, like the blandest of points in a bad morality play. The use of weird imagery here is nonsensical, is disjointed, and not in the way that actually disorients you, in the way that makes you roll your eyes. Oh, look, there's this weird guy with half his face painted black and a white line across his eyes who randomly scuttles out of the shadows wearing a sombrero to hand a Q-tip to the protagonist. Why? Even in a movie of weird imagery, why that? Some of the other stuff I get. I think it's stupid, but I get it. So you do a lot of just weird for the sake of weird. And I've seen enough pretentious, surrealistic, badly written horror movies over the years. No, this is just another one of those. I've seen a million of these. This is not special. It's not interesting. There's nothing engaging about it. There's 18 Nicolas Cage movies that do kind of this better.
That may be the issue here, is I stopped watching Nicolas Cage movies possibly after Bring Out the Dead.
If you didn't watch Mandy, you don't know what you're missing.
I did watch Mandy. I watched Mandy to give your friend and mine, Whitney Seibold, an opportunity to talk at length about it, and he pulled a fucking, Jason, Alexis, Erica. What did you think of this movie? You finally have a large runway to tell me all the things you want to tell me about this movie. It's great. I liked it.
Oh, don't even start that. I do that. I go on rambles.
Everybody fucking needs me to prompt them. I am ChatGPT.
No, they're Chat GPT.
Okay, sorry, you're right. There, I got that backwards. They're all Chat GPT. I am the user. It's like in a weird Tron movie.
You are full of shit, is what you are.
There's gonna be a weird Tron movie where we just break the laws of physics for no good reason. Anyway.
Yeah, more on that in a few weeks.
Jared Leto is the worst. Anyway. And then we get to the ending of this movie, and on a purely like aesthetic, symbolic level, I get it. I get what they're doing.
Gotta break the train.
It's just dumb. I feel like if I were to talk with the director here, we'd do the Glass Onion bit where so dumb it's brilliant. No, it's just dumb. Oh no, to sign a contract for life-changing...
Possibly the best delivered line of that year, by the way. No, it's just dumb. I got exasperated.
Much as I did not enjoy Glass Onion, yeah, that was good stuff from Daniel Craig there.
Yes.
So just I need to try and understand because I get the metaphor we're going for here. Oh no, if I sign this lucrative contract for life-changing generational money with a weird supernatural guarantee that I will, in fact, succeed beyond all possible comprehension, I will be beholden to this evil, white, old, bald man. And clearly this is not only not an exchange I'm willing to make, I must go on a violent rampage and reject the system to then what? Go back to poverty? What's the end game for you here? What's the end game for the messaging? I reject the system that is going to give me money, fame, and power in favor of ...
Don't you think that undermines the structure of folklore?
No. A good folklore story has a point.
This did have a point, Robert. When I say it undermines at the end of a good folklore, no one's asking what happens to Hansel and Gretel after they've shoved the witch into the fucking oven.
That's because no one's been told the right story. They go back. This is not complicated.
Yeah, but did they get married? Did they have children? Did they
have brother and sister? Don't be weird.
Not to each other, you fucknut. My point is,
Kentucky. God,
in your quest to over-explain how much you don't like something, you start to remove pillars that were fine the way they were. This is a constant thing with you. It's not just this movie. This movie, if you look at it as folklore, operates just fine. You don't have to say anything more than what they're trying to get across in this movie. It's not real life. This isn't Any Given Sunday.
Okay, I'm still left with the underlying question of, okay, you've destroyed the power structure that, again, enables everything about this to actually function. Then what? And this is the problem with you friggin' communists. I must destroy the system. Then what? I don't know.
Well, then we have communism. I thought the answer was obvious.
God. But again, this is my...
So you want the movie to deal with, if you're going to throw out football along with the baby, what are you going to replace it with? And I'll give you this much. They didn't think that far in advance because they didn't think they needed to, and maybe they should have. That's all you really need to say about it.
This is what happens when you think your point is self-evident.
Isn't that a big problem in film today, Robert? We've only been talking about it for at least 10 years.
Yeah, and the fact that no one involved in this project has talent or subtlety or sense just makes it worse.
Holly, I don't know if you know this or not. Maybe you weren't paying attention to any of our conversations for the last 15 years, but these people exist in a bubble that they don't let anyone in. They don't ask people outside the bubble, is this okay? They put a bunch of idiots in a room and say, does this work for you? And then they have to spend another few $10 million reshooting things. But they're not asking, but then we're not having an interpretive conversation about literature here. They're saying, did this fucking special effect of Superman work for you or not? How does this ending roll for you? But are these people are these people going to college campuses and talking to people about their feelings about a variety of themes and topics so that they can make better movies? No, they are not, for very apparent reasons. Damn it, I was dancing around that purposely.
So I'm fine with I'm fine with the argument being like trying to operate within the existing power structure of the football cult.
You know what? You know why I like this movie? We're at this an hour. Let's take 20 minutes out just for the jibber jabber. So almost 40. We're gonna go probably another 5-10 minutes before I make a stop. But look at what conversation this is engendering. I'm not stretching anything out here. We had a harder time talking about War of the Worlds. This is dumb. Please go to the money.
That's because there's nothing to talk about with War of the Worlds. There's
but
almost
that's my
nothing.
Point is, in your quest to do the thing you just yelled at everyone else for doing, to destroy something unnecessarily.
It's a piece of art. Destroying it unnecessarily is what half of them do on their own.
The point is, look at the conversation that's engendering between you and I, which is why I continue to do this despite my exasperation. The movie is imperfect, no shit, but look at the conversation it engendered between the three of us, especially you and I, who are having an interesting discussion about stuff that a lot of films don't necessarily get people talking about right now. I'm willing to forgive a large portion of its craft for its ability to get you and me to actually have a substantive discussion.
I'd just rather have a substantive discussion about something that's interesting. And
to you.
At this point, I think I could argue objectively. And the fact that you fall outside the objective set of that doesn't diminish you, but...
Well, you're in the minority on the podcast tonight. Me and Mark like it. You're the outlier tonight, which is really weird.
We're gonna talk about the critical response, Jason. You won't be here.
Can you put the light back on? Thanks. Fucking Phantom of the Opera over here.
We're gonna talk about
the bedroom before you get beaten.
We're gonna talk about
You said you'd be unobtrusive. Sorry. Women, right, Jason? You don't know what I'm talking about. Listen.
Yeah, Jason, Mark and I are gonna talk about the audience and the critical reaction later, and we'll see who's in the majority.
I said on the show.
Tomatoes. But he's not wrong.
On the show.
Fucking me and Hee Haw love this movie. You're Hee Haw, by the way.
Why do I gotta be a 1970s sketch comedy?
You could be a 1960s sketch comedy if it makes you feel better.
All right, I'm done with you, Robert. Our substantive conversation is now over. Jason, do you have anything else you would like to add? Any other giblets you'd like to share?
I have one more thing I'd like to add because I've already decided to push the racial button this episode. Let me just have some fun with this.
You didn't push it. You smashed it. Go ahead.
The other reason I struggle to buy Marlon Wayans as the greatest quarterback of all time, one, I think he's stupid. I think his character's pretty dumb. But to just understand how far into fantasy we've gone with this episode, Jason, who's the greatest quarterback of all time?
Phil Sims.
Come on, be serious.
Brady.
Who's the second greatest quarterback of all time?
I'd probably go Montana.
Who's the third greatest quarterback of all time?
Jesus Christ.
I want to say probably.
Hey, Lamar Jackson, we're going to get in trouble.
Shut up, Mark.
I'm going to say currently either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen.
Patrick Mahomes.
Currently, I said who's the third greatest quarterback of all time?
Patrick Mahomes. Is Colin Kaepernick a fucking quarterback? Because I'd say him.
Yeah, he's.
You've still got to get through. Hang on, okay. Let me run down the guys who should also be on this list.
Marino, Elway.
Marino never won a Super Bowl. Elway did. Montana did. You already mentioned him. Steve Young won several. Troy Aikman won 3.
Troy Aikman wasn't a great quarterback. He was on a great team. Like
it's like being in a fucking mosh pit with you two tonight. Not one I enjoy either. Golly, Robert. Golly gee. Oh, shucks, Robert. Whatever could the similarities be on all these people on this list that you would bring this up on this football podcast about a football movie?
I don't know, Mark.
They're whiter than rice.
Okay, jokes aside, You could easily put Patrick Mahomes at this point somewhere in the top 5.
Lamar is in the conversation in the top 10.
Okay. I would buy that.
In the top 10.
I would absolutely buy that.
You ever going to get to a point?
No.
Just that if they'd made this movie about basketball, it would have made more sense.
Or if they would have made it about field hockey.
They did lacrosse. That. It's called Hard Bodies.
Lacrosse.
Oh, because mostly black people play basketball. Got it. Okay. Trying to figure out.
I mean, name your greatest of all time basketball players. I mean,
Larry Bird.
He's in the top 10. Yeah,
he's in the top 10 for sure.
I don't know.
But he's not in the top 5.
I don't know anyone else. Someone said there was a magic guy or something or other. I don't know.
Yeah, he has AIDS. He's magically cured AIDS, and nobody realizes it.
Who are the best boxers of all time? Tommy Lee, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Morrison. Yeah, There we go.
Tommy Lee. Yeah, we know what kind of movie.
One of the best boxers of all time.
Rocky Balboa.
Okay.
Rocky Balboa.
Are we done? Are we done alienating people now?
Probably not.
Jason, the final semi-coherent word.
I mean, I like this movie. It had a lot of pacing issues. I think that you could have explored. I think if you would have added 15 minutes to explore, let things flesh out a little bit, I think this movie would have been a lot better. It's definitely in my top 5 of the year. And that's about it. I mean, I'm going to rewatch it. I mean, this is going to be one of those movies that I can throw on the background and watch. It's going to be in the vein of, Varsity Blues, Any Given Sunday, Longest Yard, Little Giants, which, I mean, that's pretty lofty to throw it up there with Little Giants.
I was going to say, man, like, that's the gold standard of football movies.
Fucking Statue of Liberty, oh boy.
Yeah, yeah. The annexation of Puerto Rico, let's go. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have its flaws, yes. Is it a good popcorn movie that you can throw on the background? Yes. Is it going to win any awards? No. Will it have a cult following when it comes out later on? I'm pretty sure it will, which is the irony.
I definitely I'm going to have the last word because I got to get my shit in. Hogan must pose. I threw this in with some of my favorites of the last couple of years. The Substance, Poor Things, Fresh. These weirdo fucking movies that I've come to love over the last few years of doing the show. Just because
the studio system has burned you so badly at this point that you're kind of
Fresh was a good movie.
But I don't blame you.
But that's my point.
Fresh was a really good movie.
We see so much of the same dreck over and over and over again oozing out of the Hollywood pipe that, I don't need a polished gem to come out. I'll take a pretty looking rock over the sludge that we are getting. And that's kind of where this movie lies for me. Like I said, when I'm laughing at the end of the movie as he's cutting everyone's head off, and I'm getting Sam Raimi vibes, and my son and I both simultaneously without prompting each other, this movie is awesome, best movie of the year, and we're laughing hysterically, and my daughter walks into the woods to live deliberately, I'll take that as a win. I understand not everyone has the same bar as me, but I'm taking that as a win. Me, Mark Radulich. So, with that said,
trying to grattle your daughter there.
But I will say this, then I'll go into the money. I agree with Jason. When this comes to streaming and people can watch it for free, I think more and more people are going to land on this was a weirdo fucking movie, I loved it, than not. I think right now it's not a big enough draw, and we'll talk about that momentarily, to get people into the movies enough to where you're going to find the cult following that I think this is going to develop. So with that said, here comes the money.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Him on a budget of
this is my exit.
Oh, that's right. This is where you bounce. Bye, Jason.
This is my exit. Bye, guys.
See you next time. It's just me and you again, my love.
Yep.
Stop
You're
blinking.
no
Help.
longer in a threesome you don't want to be in.
That is correct. And stop blinking help to people. No one can save you this time. On a budget of $27 million, this thing has made $13.9 million. Reception. Rainmaker. As of September 21st, 2025, him has grossed $13.5 million in the U.S. and Canada, and $362,000 in other territories, for a worldwide total of $13.9 million. As I've said now, a third time. In the U.S. and Canada, him was released alongside A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, which nobody saw, and was projected to gross 15 to 18
Would have
million
rather watched that movie, and that has Margot Robbie in it.
from 3,100 theaters in its opening weekend. The film made 6.5 on its first day, including $2 million from Thursday night previews. It went on to debut $13.5 million, finishing second behind holdover Demon Slayer. Let me tell you how fucking annoyed I was walking into the AMC Brandon here in Hillsborough County, and we had tickets to the IMAX show, but the IMAX poster where I usually take pictures of my children to advertise this podcast and to remember their beautiful faces was a full poster in the IMAX frame of Demon Slayer Yagakagi Azkaban. Whatever they're calling this third movie.
How did you just become more racist than me on this episode right then? That took some doing.
I have a natural talent.
It's also your favorite racial group to pick on, so that helps.
You're not wrong. So anywho, we had to walk over, like a bunch of commoners. We had to walk over to the Dolby Theater where there was a poster of him outside, and we took a picture there. But I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, do not be deceived. We saw this in IMAX in all of its glory, all of its head cutting off glory.
I imagine no one cares.
You can imagine anything you like. You can dance if you want. You can leave your friends behind. This weekend, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Infinity Castle, was the number one movie of the weekend.
Held that thought despite a 75% drop. Good grief.
That is the state of motion picture exhibition.
You're not kidding.
Him debuted number 2. The Conjuring Last Rites fell from 2 to 3. Downton Abbey 3 to 4. The Long Walk 4 to 5. A Big Bold Beautiful Journey, which I'm sure will be in streaming on Netflix next week.
Give or take.
Debuted at 6. The Senior at 7. Sight Sound Presents Noah Live debuted at 9.
Hey, look at that. Still in the top 10, a week out, is the Toy Story 2025 re-release.
Weapons fell from 6 to 10. Freakier Friday 8 to 11. Bad Guys 2 kept his position at 12. Hamilton dropped from 7 to 13. Apollo 13, 30th anniversary.
Oh, man, I wish I could have found that one showing around me because I didn't see Apollo 13
I
in
feel
theaters,
like
and I
next
love that
year,
movie.
what you should do is not see the movie we're reviewing. Just see whatever you want, and don't sell that you saw a different movie, but review the movie you saw.
That is some Andy Kaufman level of commitment to a bit that I would need.
That might be the nicest thing you ever said to me. Plainclothes debuted at 30. The Summer Book 32. Predators, not that one, you dorks. 35. Peacock 39. And that was the weekend. That was. Worldwide, I'm sure there has been absolutely no movement whatsoever. No, I take that back. Demon Slayers in the top 10.
Wow. Wait. I can't stress enough how tickled I am that movie is beating every Marvel release this year. Oh my god.
Oh, that's delicious.
That
incredible.
Redeems my miserable viewing experience to realize that right now. That is great.
The top 10 is currently Ninja, Lilo and Stitch, a Minecraft movie, Jurassic World, How to Train Your Dragon, F1, and then, hey dorks, I would like to remind you again that Superman did not make it the money it needed to make. It wildly underperformed, at 650 million, and the number 7 behind fucking F1 and Jurassic World.
Dude, it did worse than How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. Behind that is Mission Impossible, and then the moral victor of the year, Demon Slayer 3.
You're darn right.
At number 9, knocking the Fantastic Four down to 10. At this point, and I don't want to really talk about this for very long, but I mean, I think they're just about done shooting Doomsday.
Allegedly, they've finished shooting. My hunch is reshoots will begin next week.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how badly do you think they're fucking panicking at Marvel right now? Like,
If they're not, they better start.
How do you not look at this and go, "We are fucked 8 ways from Sunday"?
And Tom Holland apparently got injured on the set of the Spider-Man movie. That's, I think, supposed to come out before Doomsday.
I would almost guarantee you that in terms of like strategy and film release, that they are going to make Spider-Man like the next Avengers movie, so that people are primed for Doomsday. Because if if they allow the current day dissatisfied and dwindling Marvel audience to come in cold to Doomsday, that thing will be the biggest flop since Ben-Hur.
There's a non-trivial chance that Avengers Doomsday, when it's all said and done, is one of the biggest money losers of all time.
Yeah. Do you know how much money Ben-Hur lost? A lot.
Ben-Hur, the most recent one, not the original.
Yeah,
for anyone not in the know.
Yeah.
No, like, this might lose like Heaven's Gate level money.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not kidding about this. They're spending like $120 million just on actor salary.
So here are all the movies doing worse than Sinners. Final Destination, Weapons, The Bad Guys 2, Snow White, Ilio, 28 Years Later, Freakier Friday, Dogman, Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, I Tell You, Ballerina, Mickey 17, Smurfs, Karate Kid. Like half the movies we fucking reviewed this year.
It's been a bad year, man.
This is just awful. Like,
So look, some of these down here are actually money makers.
31 movies, 31 total, made more than $100 million. And almost every single one of these had at least $100 million budget.
So Naked Gun is going to be struggling. But there are, hang on, scroll back down for a minute. Let's be fair to some of these. Let's talk about which of these are, in fact, financial winners, despite being low on this list.
Okay, so we're looking at anything less than 100 million.
Well, go up a little bit from that, but so Naked Gun might still be okay.
Yeah,
not great, but might still be okay because they shot it for low enough.
Yeah.
King of Kings is a success. That had a very small budget, all things considered, so that one's okay. The Monkey is not great. The Monkey's okay where it is, but Monkey also got a decent amount of money from its streaming deal because it's on Hulu / Disney Plus. So it's, again, not great. Okay. I Know What You Did Last Summer is not doing well. Downton Abbey's not going to do well. Until Dawn is not doing well. Jeez. Okay, scroll up a little bit. Because there's a few of those other ones that are like north of 100, but are still pretty big losers.
Well, okay, I'll give you another inflection point. Less than 300 million. So that puts us at Weapons at 200.
So Weapons is a giant success.
Mm-hmm.
Because they shot it for like 15 or 20.
Right.
So huge success. Bad Guys 2 that's a stretch. They expected more out of that one.
Snow White's a giant, miserable failure.
Giant failure. Elio's a failure. 28 Years Later is underperforming.
Freakier Friday has to be a failure.
Let me look at that real fast, actually, because
look, that got a huge marketing push for Disney these days. Disney, it'll be interesting to see this year because, on the one hand, Lilo and Stitch. On the other hand, everything else they've done.
Okay, Freakier Friday has a budget of $45 million, give or take.
All right, so it made money, but I don't.
So hang on. So you figure you add another 30-ish in marketing.
But I have to assume
they wanted more.
bigger numbers for the second iteration of that movie starring Jamie Lee Curtis and what's her nuts there from Netflix?
Lindsay Lohan.
That's the broad.
So I'll grant you that one is probably a disappointment, but I don't think it's a giant money loser.
No, but I think we're having two different conversations, which is fine. So let's define the silos. In one silo was movies that didn't make money.
Okay.
In the bigger silo, movies that underperformed versus the expectation of the people who greenlit them. I guarantee. Look, if I'm an executive at Disney, I'm greenlighting Freaky Friday 2 because I think that's a known property and will draw people to the theaters. Girls will go see it. Moms will go see it. Single ladies will go see it. That's my assumption. I'm going to assume this is going to do chick movie numbers because it's Disney and there's brand loyalty. But that does bring up an interesting conversation that is worth having. And that is brand loyalty to Disney versus people willing to go see a Disney movie. Because if I had two ships that were sailing to Florida, and one is people who are willing to go see a Disney movie and people willing to go to the Disney theme parks, one of those ships would be practically empty. The other one would be overfull and sink. Like the amount of people that have brand loyalty to the parks only, but could give a fuck less about anything else Disney does. Like, it's an interesting thing to think about, and I might even do some research on this in a follow-up TikTok, because now I'm fascinated myself with this topic of like Disney adults who fetishize the theme parks but care nothing for the Disney culture. And what I mean is like films and television shows.
For them, and I'm going to try and be a little bit charitable to these people, as charitable as I can be to them. They fetishize the theme parks and their own childhood. They fetishize the nostalgia.
I really thought that's what I was inferring, but go on.
No, you might have been trying to imply, but they don't care what they continue to do, because what they continue to do is not very good. But because the good stuff that they did, or at least one good thing that they did, stuck with these now adults so hard, they're willing to just stick on that particular point.
Can you imagine that Cinderella had such a profound impact on you? You're willing to be a part of their theme park culture for the rest of your stupid life?
I can't imagine Cinderella having made a giant impact on me and then deciding that I would like to live my life in a way that is somewhat antithetical to the messaging.
Fucking great.
I'm gonna throw that out there. You can use that line in your TikTok if you give me credit for it.
I promise. I will do my best. That's good shit.
So, yeah, Disney's in a real rough spot, but also on that list, I'm going to mention it. We don't have to bring it back up, but Dogman was a pretty big success given its budget.
That hung in there on the top 10 pretty much until April.
Yeah, which is a damning indictment on the first quarter of the year more than anything else. But
I want to say, I haven't seen numbers lately or anyone writing about numbers, but I want to say this year dipped below 2024. Year to date, we have made less money in theaters by this time last year.
I, off the top of my head, am inclined to agree with you, but I'm with you. I'd have to double check.
Which you would like to think that from 2021 till now, it was just up and away, and that is not what's happening. We are looking more at a heartbeat monitor than we are constant movement upward, because 2021 to 2023, that's the theaters rebounding from COVID. From 2023 to 2025, the assumption is, well, if we play our cards right, people will continue to come back and we'll still have big hit movies. And you had select ones, Minecraft and Lilo and Stitch being two obvious examples. But for the most part, people are going less to the movies this year than they did last year. And the low-hanging fruit argument on that is, well, look at the movies that are out there. But I'll tell you, say movies 10 years ago don't have this problem. If you put out the same Snow White movie you put out this year, 10 years ago, the fans are not as fed up as they are now.
I think that Snow White was going to fail no matter what.
I agree, but the bigger point that I'm making is
if that releases in 2015 or 2016, it probably just kills the live action remake thing in the cradle at that point.
But it makes more money. But okay, you don't like Snow White, Fantastic Four and Superman. Fantastic Four and Superman, I think, do much better.
Yeah,
probably twice as better than they did this year. 10 years ago. 10 years ago is 2015.
Yeah, I
know.
Marvel
is
okay
on the rise up to the peak.
You're still not going to get $1 billion out of Fantastic Four in 15. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get $1 billion out of Superman either. But Superman in 15 probably does hit 700.
I don't know. Here's the only reason why I'm going to fight
7 to 8
on that. Batman v Superman underperformed to the tune of 700 million, and I think more people would have gone to see this version of Superman than that one.
At that point, you're trying to make a cultural prediction about the people who existed in 2015, and frankly, the optimistic, brightly colored Superman in 15, I don't think plays as well.
I don't know. Marvel's still doing optimism at that point, and you got to remember what was happening in that period. Marvel's doing bright colors and optimism. So DC and Zack Snyder are going, what about melancholy? How about that as a motif? And everyone rejects melancholy. That's why they took it away from Zack Snyder.
I'm just saying, I think
that's in part why we got the schizophrenic Justice League that we got.
That's true, but also this Superman is trying too hard to split the audience with Marvel at that point. So I still don't think it gets to $1 billion.
Okay. I mean, it would be interesting to see that timeline. But my overall argument still stands. A lot of these movies, to the credit of the executives greenlighting them, they got to be just sitting at their desk going, I don't know what we did wrong.
Well, if you greenlit this Snow White, you know exactly what you did wrong every step of the way.
Snow White aside, there's 100 movies that we just looked at on the list here.
Yeah.
Many of them, despite maybe I'll give you another example. Karate Kid Legends. Karate Kid Legends maybe does significantly better in a world that isn't completely aggravated with Hollywood. That's the other thing you got to remember. In 2015, people weren't mad at Hollywood. I mean, there's always going to be the, that kind of friction between flyover country people and Hollywood elite that was being highlighted on cable news programs in real time with Bill Maher. But for the most part, prior to 2017 and definitely before 2019, there was very much a live and let live between the average Joe and the Hollywood elite. We'll make movies, we'll go see the movies, we work in perfect symbiosis, it's the circle of life.
I do wonder, though, to that point, though, some of the stuff these days is so ideologically poisoned that if you throw it back a decade ago, if the shock of it isn't too much of a thing to deal with.
Well, here's the thing. Between 2015 and 2017, you can probably get away with it. From 2017 to 2019, because that is the actual start of the go woke, go broke stream of fucking Me Too movies that start coming out.
That's the point at which all the people whining about Trump got their projects actually out.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's I think if you trace back the history of all the stuff we've been complaining about forever, it starts in 2017 and goes into high gear in 2019. There's a slight setback with the pandemic, and then we're back in full gear again. To where now there's this unreasonable backlash. I mean, we along the way made our grievances. My problem right now with people is it's become chic to have a grievance. Now the cultural coolness is to be anti-Hollywood, and I want to piss on those people. We were doing it the whole time.
Yeah, Mark, okay, look. Everyone now is like, oh, Green Day and
I said dark feminism. Dark feminism, Robert.
Mark, I was with you.
Yes,
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to couch this in other terms so you can feel happy.
Okay.
Nowadays, all the kids are listening to Green Day and Blink-182 going punk. And you and I are like safety pins in our cheeks. Like, we are not the same.
Yeah. All right. With that said, you ready to move on to the last segment?
Anything else I wanted to say monetarily about this last week? Not especially.
So
Yeah, I think we
really,
move on.
The really funny thing about this is I'm really trying to create. I used to do the TikToks to advertise the podcast. I don't care enough anymore, and I do this because I like you guys and I like to do this, but I've given up on trying to make anything of it that more than it already is. At some point I got to stop beating my fucking head against the wall.
Yeah.
So the TikTok has a future possibly, and I'm putting effort into that, but I've also hit kind of burnout with it, so I'm realigning. So
almost like putting 3 or 4 out every day will do that to you.
I think I'm a magazine is the problem, and turns out I'm just a dude with other shit.
You know what, Mark? You could manage a magazine, but you can't manage it and be the only writer and photographer.
Bugs Bunny, first base. Bugs Bunny, first base. Bugs Bunny, second base.
Yeah, that's you.
That in practice is how burnout happens. So
yeah.
I'm just doing one good one a day, one good long one, and then I'm done. So I've already done my TikTok on him. Therefore, I don't need to pull a transcript for this. On the other hand, you and I just had a really good discussion, and therein lies the difference. I don't want to do a transcript for every single podcast we do just to do them, just to advertise the podcast. If there's a worthy enough discussion that was had on it that I think needs some more eyes on it, then I'll pull the transcript and make a TikTok out of it. What we talked about with Disney adults and the culture of the parks and this last bit, I think are interesting enough to kind of throw into ChatGPT and say, what hay can we make of this? So I just wanted to share that bit of, creative endeavoring that I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, if I'm able to contribute, I'm happy to do so.
You just did. You're so contributing. You're a good boy. All right. With that said,
your sarcasm is noted.
Never. And with that said, the critical review.
Double down.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Well, never let it be said that I had any taste.
Mark, you definitely have your own version of taste.
The top critics, this is a 17.
Let me guarantee you the following about the
Yeah.
top critics dumping on this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of them that look at this as the pretentious, reach exceeds your grasp slop that it really I don't think that's a wrong category for it. Let me just put it that way.
Well, people in the steeple. 17 for top critics. To all critics, it rises to 29. Verified audiences are 58. All audiences is a hot 59. However, and I never really read this part of it because I don't feel like I have to, but here I'm going to 3.5 out of 5, which means the average person thought this was okay.
3.4, yeah.
Yeah, 3.4 out of 5. So, there you have it. But what does the angry metal guy think about all this? Well,
if we find him on here, we'll let you know.
To Tony Baker of Tony Baker Comedy. I get the point of it all. Good.
Sure you do.
Good pull. outstanding. Hey, Doug Walker, you monster of Channel Awesome. While the ending
You're
goes
keeping company with Doug Walker on this one, Mark. Have some self-reflection about that.
I will take it to the bed where a woman is waiting for me. While the ending goes comically abstract to the point of not caring, the way
True.
Lee sees his environment captures the pressure, anxiety, and physical demands of being an athlete, along with the impossible cult-like standard society expects from them.
Doug Walker knows nothing about athletic pursuit.
Speaking of knowing nothing of athletic pursuit, Jeffrey Harris of 401mania.com. Him is all flash and pizzazz with no emotional grounding.
He's right. The question you have to ask yourself about that is whether or not you think this kind of story needs a tremendous amount of emotional grounding. And in fairness, if you're trying to tell a fable, it's not as necessary, but there's such a lack of understanding about proper myth making in trying to tell this fable that people are going to miss it.
Alan French of Sunshine State Cineplex. Him is far from perfect, but it digs into a toxic, self-serving culture feels especially resonant today.
Oh, wow. So resonant.
It's a lot of rotten reviews here. So, Amy Nicholson, our good friend, top critic.
How is she not?
It wants to be the substance with jock straps, a satanic tinged steroidal Rosemary's Baby. But the film is so stylishly done that I could accept it on those plain terms. Every shot is a stunner. How is it a rotten review? Like, did you rate it that low? And that here's the thing. I know how it is. I don't need Alexis to explain it to me. But the poll is incongruous to the rating.
I'm more questioning how she can like gush about this cinematography. It's not that good.
Instagram filter, the movie.
It's not quite that bad. We've seen that before.
Let's see. I wonder if Lola Lambchop saw this.
She gave it a positive review, you know.
Then you gave her a positive review.
Why do you try to make that weird?
Try. Amelia Emberwing of Tech Advisor. Though the heavy-handedness of its messaging might be a turn-off for some, it feels completely necessary for the subject matter.
No, it doesn't.
With the story being elevated by strong performances, incredible set design, and a banger score, him is impossible to ignore.
You really want to call this a banger score? No.
Ty Gooden of Nerdist, Black Lady. Justin Tipping's Him tackles our religious allegiance to football, unsettling hero worship, sacrifice, and identity crisis in a surrealist thriller, and warning siren wrapped in one strange package.
Here's my gripe about that. This would have been better if they'd actually like committed to the relationship between people and football and how unhealthy it can be. Instead, it's kind of just backdrop for ownership bad.
Resident communist Christy Puchko of Mashable, top critic. Him is a mixed bag, offering rich performances, unnerving scares, especially one involving a sauna. And in terms of sport rail, you pansy.
How are you, dude? No. There's nothing actually scary here. Nothing.
Carla Hay of Culture Mix, resident black woman. Watching the atrocious horror movie Him is like being forced to watch someone's wretched psychedelic fever dreams about making American professional football look demonic. This incoherent mess is embarrassing for all involved. Well, when you've lost the black women, Jesus.
I don't completely disagree, but at the same time, like the best version of this movie is way too much movie for her.
All right.
But from our resident
black woman,
from the resident black woman to the resident white woman,
resident cracker Grace Randolph of Beyond the Trailer.
This woman's never been to a cookout.
And never gonna be. Resident raisin in the potato salad, Grace Randolph of Beyond the Trailer.
Has no opinion on the debate between Outkast and Snoop Dogg.
Okay. Resident honky, Grace Randolph of Beyond the Trailer.
Bought John Cena's rap album.
Marlon Wayans and Julia Fox do what they can, but this movie is just a huge missed opportunity. Instead of any meaningful commentary on football and celebrity, it's a self-serving sensationalist film with a cliche, over-the-top ending. Nice location, though. I'm not a fan of this.
I hate that I don't disagree with her more. Hey, Mark, it's your best friend.
Resident white woman, William Bibiani of The Wrap, top critic. You learn about as much from the movie as you do from the trailer, and the trailer is free to watch and saves you a lot of time.
In fairness, the fact that I watched the trailer and immediately could basically predict the entire movie almost beat for beat is a pretty damning indictment.
All right. Well, now that I've...
You know what, Mark? I would like to congratulate you.
For once.
You managed to avoid any of those reviews that had football-related puns or references in their polls.
Yeah.
The number of ones I saw flying by that had fumbles in them.
Yeah, well, Alexis isn't here, and it's less fun to note those when she's not around. So, because then she can jump up in the chair and yell "Tick bird," and I slowly get a migraine. Well, slowly get a migraine is the phrase that pays here on the Damn You Hollywood. So, with that said, we have concluded our review of him.
What about her?
That's next week. Yesterday, I don't know what's going on with StreamYard, but when we use the recording instead of the streaming, it gets this, it's like a processing thing where it's dropping seconds at a time. So it's very clicky and choppy, and I don't know how to fix it other than to not record and just go live every time. Because this isn't happening when I do, and again, I don't even know if it's that. I don't know if it's Cooper or Mick, but I haven't had this problem with Mick solo. Haven't had a problem with Jesse, so I don't know if it's maybe Coop's internet that's doing it, or it literally is StreamYard's recording thing. But we did a recording last night of the Metal Hammer of Doom Jukebox, and it's minimally listenable. So, we also played my video for Fra Diavolo, Every Irish Song Ever, which was a hoot. Wednesday, myself and Harry Broadhurst will be doing the Indie-Siders Beyond Wrestling American Rana. And then Robert will be back with Gavin and Mick, and we'll be doing some horror movies, Drop, Echo Valley, and Sinners. I have seen all of these except Sinners. Sinners is tomorrow night.
So, correct me if you just real quick if you disagree with my assessment.
I haven't watched Sinners yet.
I'm not going to ask you about Sinners.
Okay.
Drop would have been a fine short film.
Yes. Also, the date they go on didn't need a terrorist harassing them. That's every woman I've ever dated. Her behavior, rock solid, beat for beat, every date I've ever been on. It was amazing. Like, I'm watching this, and I had to be reminded it's a thriller and not a romance movie. Because honestly, everything about what that woman does, and I'll say this again on Thursday, everything about what that woman does in that movie has actually happened to me, short of there being a terrorist, like, in someone's home. That's not even an exaggeration.
You know what? I can fly out to Florida next time you go out on a date, and we can actually complete the story if you feel so inclined.
I don't. But yeah, I watched Drop, and would have worked better as a short film. They barely got to 90 minutes on that one.
Yeah, not enough meat on that bone at all.
However, I have a new Fra Diavolo coming out this Friday called Too Late to Rewrite. It's a 5-track rock opera that takes my thoughts on... It's not a joke. It takes my thoughts on Hoobastank's The Letter and the Reason. Not in that order. And then you may have seen her walking around me tonight turning off lights for no good reason. My girlfriend and I are going to do a podcast. We're going to do Damn You Hollywood this Saturday. Because, Robert, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I love you. You are my friend. You are a boy. And
all accurate statements thus far.
And I listen when you talk. And when you say you're allergic to product biopics, I say I understand, and I won't make you watch a product biopic. I also won't make you watch a movie about a dating app. So there's a movie coming out on Hulu called Swiped, and it's about the lady who invented Bumble. And I so very much want to watch this movie and talk about it, but I love you, Robert, and I don't want to subject you to that.
I appreciate that. The fact that I am around the age of 40 and single, I look at that and I just see the grim, algorithmically fueled abyss of my lonely, inevitable demise.
Other reason why I didn't want to discuss it with you. However, I will be discussing it with Erica. She enjoyed our Steel Magnolias podcast.
They waited long enough to make a movie about Bumble that they can do that their post-film like placard.
Yeah.
Can actually say, by the way, its stock went to 0 last week.
Yes, that'd be fantastic. So anyway, she came on for the very first time in the podcast, not just buzzing around me or putting in comments. We did a Still Magnolias by her suggestion, and she had such a good time with that she wants to do another one. And I said, good, you're the perfect person for me to talk. My present day girlfriend, good person to talk about a dating app movie with. So we're gonna do that on Saturday.
What could possibly go sideways about this?
Absolutely nothing. Anyway, so that's gonna be Saturday. We're gonna do that instead of watch sports. And then Jesse and I are gonna discuss the 2 Simple Favor movies. The previous one and the one that came out earlier this year. And then I think I'm done trying to catch up on movies for a while. We'll be back next week for One Battle After Another, which is an Oscar contender from what I've heard, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's one of those that, like, based on the people involved, everyone kind of goes, clearly this will be an Oscar contender.
Yeah.
And then you and I have done enough of those that wound up being nowhere near that when it was all said and done. That I'm not really...
This one Battle After Another movie is missing only Martin Scorsese at this point. And then Alexis and I will be finishing our look at Upload Season 4 on October 1st. And a week from Thursday will be Michael Mann, not Joseph Kaczynski. We'll be looking at Ferrari, Heat, and Collateral. Andrew will not be there because he has a life. That's it, Robert. What do you got going on?
Well, I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling over at 411mania.com. So I covered WrestlePalooza.
Ugh.
I only have to type that damn thing out one more time.
I was TikTok live when that was going on.
So you, unlike everyone in the live audience, you had a great first 8 minutes. So I have to mention this to you. So overall, I gave that show a 7 out of 10, which on the 411 scale means barely good. I was then somewhat castigated because there's a contingent of the commenters who went, how in the world did you get to good on any of this?
Boy, you can't win for shit.
Hang on. Then there's a contingent that went, wait a minute, you didn't have a single match that you rated below 3 stars. How is this bad? Which point I have to do the following. 1, a show is not just some bizarre amalgamation of potential stars. The pacing matters. The decision-making and the booking matters. The execution matters. There's a bunch of stuff that goes into this. So this overlong, self-congratulatory wank fest between WWE and ESPN that went on for too long had so much downtime. And no, there's a lot of that wasn't good. Second, my star ratings are not entirely a reflection of how much I enjoyed a match. I do have a few bits of criteria for them that are not just did Robert like. So the fact that I gave CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch 3.5 on that stars does not mean I thought it was a 3.5 star match necessarily in terms of my enjoyment. I hated that match. I would have given it 2. It's overlong. AJ's timing is off. Her strikes look god awful. You had to have laughed. Please tell me you laughed, Mark, at the windmill punches.
Oh yeah, I was quoting The Simpsons. I'm gonna do this, and if you walk into me,
So didn't enjoy that, but the crowd enjoyed it, and you know what?
that matters.
That counts. So it got bumped a little bit from what I personally thought of it, because again, I try to be a little bit fair with that. The fact that the main event was underwhelming didn't help. Again, the fact that that mixed tag match got 30 minutes, 10 of which were bad. No, there's a lot bad there. But I get what they were doing with Brock and Cena, so that didn't put me off on the wrong foot. Did kill the crowd, though.
I don't understand how that kicked the show off for it to not go anywhere, or for Brock not to reappear to beat the fuck out of Cody.
No reason for him to. Look, Brock's going to F off for a while. He's going to come back for War Games and align with Seth and the Vision.
I know. I can read the group chat. My point is, if you're watching it cold and you're watching two superstars kick off the night, it annoyed me when they did this with Roman Reigns. So it's not just a Brock Cena thing, but like the hot opener, I see the reasoning for doing it if the character reappears later on in the narrative. Doing it just to do it, get it out of the way, just, for the only purpose is to get the crowd going. Like, okay, Brock Lesnar is not Tito Santana, and this isn't WrestleMania 1. Like that
he did make those kids cry, though, and that was pretty great.
A great way to start the show. Sadness.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing holding back, like the only good match on this card, because the Usos and the Brony.
If you were gonna do that, the way to have done it was to squash Cena. Have Brock a squash is like less than 3 minutes. Go out there, squash Cena in 3 minutes or less, and have him walk out again. And at least then it's not so much a match as it is an angle to build Brock up for Cody later. If you're not,
he's not messing with Cody later,
or whatever it is he's going to do, I think he works better that way than they had a match where Cena somehow couldn't get any offense in after the 88th time these guys have wrestled each other. But I don't want to spend the next hour talking wrestling.
Yeah. So anyway, but point being, like the only thing that held back Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky from 5 stars for me was the fact that the crowd kind of sucked. Because that match rules.
That was Stephanie Vaquer right now, I think, is like the best women's wrestler in a major promotion. She's amazing.
Yeah, she is legitimately great. And I hate that Julia's stuck on SmackDown where Road Dogg doesn't know what to do. Because he's the lead writer for SmackDown.
Okay. Right. Wrap it up, honey.
And boy, nobody knows how to ride things into the ground like the guy still doing the shimmy shake knee drop and the crotch chop in the year of our Lord 2025.
Okay.
So you can find some of those reports over there. I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling. There was no UFC event on Saturday, hence my availability to cover WrestlePalooza. This Friday, I'll be covering WWE SmackDown, per usual, where nothing of value will happen because nobody cares about SmackDown. I shouldn't say that about this week. They're doing the women's title triple threat match that determines who gets to go wrestle Stephanie at Crown Jewel. I don't care. But, go see my stuff over there. The SmackDown women's division is stalled badly. Very badly. Saturday, I will be covering UFC on ESPN Plus 118. The UFC is in Perth for that card. My full preview is on the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast, and it's not a very strong card. I found 3, Mark. I found 3 fights that I kind of care about.
All right.
If I can find 3, I tend to think, okay, I found 3. 3 out of 14 is not a good ratio, though.
Well, folks, thank you for joining us here on Damn You Hollywood. We'll be back next week for one battle after another. So really quick.
And Mark mentioned it, but Thursday, he and I will be on that triple feature. I will probably be there. That's kind of up in the air at the moment for reasons I'm not going to elaborate on.
Damn You Hollywood, I think, is going to be every Monday for the rest of the year. For the most part, definitely for October. We've got one battle after another. The Smashing Machine. Fucking stupid mouse. Tron Ares, the Black Phone 2, and then I just added it to the schedule. October 27th, we're going to review the Netflix Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie.
Man, I'm so disappointed that Black Phone 2 exists.
Yeah, me too. Well, folks,
It's what happens, man.
We like to
You
leave
get a
them
surprise
disappointed.
hit,
We
and
like
then
to
just
leave.
turn him into Freddy Krueger. Just turn him into Freddy Krueger is all you did. I'm just disappointed.
Yes, they did. That looks terrible, that movie. Be well, be safe, and behave.